Well, we're only about 2.5 years into it, and the cycles of war ramp up all the way into 2020. So we have quite some time to go. And to me, it's quite appalling that we're seeing so much geopolitical chaos around the world, both domestically in various countries in Europe and in the Middle East, and internationally, of course, with Russia and Europe and Russia and the United States, and some tensions also between China and Japan. And, it's all part and parcel of economic conditions around the world, which really are not very good. We have several important economic cycles that are also hitting at the same time that these cycles of war and unrest are hitting, such as the turning down of the Kondratiev wave, which has been turning down for some time now, but is getting worse by the month. And that means slower business formation. And we have another cycle that I track, which is called the Zhugler cycle, which really is pointing towards slower business investment as well, a sort of risk-off mentality by businesses. And we have the kitchen cycle, not anything to do with your kitchen, but like the Zhugler cycle, it points to slower business formation in the years ahead. So we have several cycles that are really coming together that are making for unstable situations economically and politically around the world. And it's only going to get worse, I'm afraid, for the next several years. Well, it's a term I use for the very large war cycle that I've tracked back several thousand years. It's basically a 53.5-year cycle. And it's the type of cycle that can produce major world wars. That granddaddy of all cycles is due to hit again as we approach the year 2020. So on top of all the economic cycles, which are shorter term in nature that I just described, we have this big granddaddy war cycle also converging at the same time. And, that's not a pretty picture. Hopefully we won't end up in World War III, but as Pope Francis said last September at a speech in Italy, we're already, and I agree, kind of in a World War III, a 21st century version of World War III, because we have currency wars, we have trade wars, we have cyber espionage, we have terrorism, we have a new Cold War. So we have all these things breaking out, and it really could be the 21st century version of a world war. Well, you have to keep most of your money liquid and safe, and you need to keep, in my opinion, 6 months of cash readily available to handle your expenses. As far as investments go, there are many courses of action one can take, and I can only be general here because I reserve specific recommendations for members of my newsletters. But, you want to look at buying gold once the bear market is over, and, of course, silver and some of the other precious metals. And you want to look at mining shares when the bear market is over in the precious metals. And you want to look at multinational types of companies in the U.S. that will do well even in a slow-growing global economic environment. The reason for that is the rest of the world is doing very, very poorly. So you have a lot of investors who are looking to put their money into the U.S. equity markets. They don't want to invest in Europe. They don't want to invest in U.S. government bonds or European government bonds. They're worried about China, wrongly. But nevertheless, there's a lot of capital coming into the United States, into the U.S. equity market, and the U.S. dollar sort of as safe havens during this period. So there's a lot you can do. Again, I reserve my specific recommendations for members of my newsletters. This is Larry Edelson from Money and Markets. Thank you for joining today. I'll talk to you again soon.